Well, everybody, if there's no hidden extra weapons for a new season or no third kits, this is it. The final two new main weapons for the game being revealed. After this, we're done. This will be the end of this kit review series on the channel. I hope it's not. I'm kind of hopeful it's not, but if this is the end, then we'll see what happens. First up is CHydra. I really don't have much to say about it. It's mine and screen. I know it says point sensor. They didn't translate it right. Now, I don't have a lot to say about CHydra in general. First off, I think this kit is probably just better, but I don't even think it's that big a gap. Like, I think this kit is almost perfect. I just wish the auto bomb was something more deployable with how slow it is, but like in theory, mine is great for it. You know, you can set them up. It helps with the weapon if it gets rushed down. And screen is fine. Like, you can use it as a form of cover as you kind of strafe around, and that can be helpful. Like, this weapon does have to deal with long-range weapons shooting it down. Like, pencil's probably a big one, and the ability to have some cover for that, and you can use a run speed build to kind of peek in and out of the screen to be able to see other people. I think it's fine. I think it's a perfectly fine weapon. But it's just, I don't know, the main weapon is just... Every Splatoon game, CHydra has seemed to fit in a little bit less and a little bit less. And while it doesn't deal with the heavy displacement in this game, you pick this weapon for the insane full charge. And you just barely are able to really get a full charge. In a game that is so focused on taking space quickly and moving fast and playing really quick with your team, this weapon is just not good at doing that. And there's some insane CHydra players who can do cool things with partial charges and try to position more aggressively. And, like, I want to believe the weapon can be higher, but realistically, I think this is doomed to be a permanent low tier without significant changes to it. And really, I have the least to say about it, which is why I'm glad we get to really wrap up this video with the Dowser Dualies. Because, yes, it is Burst Bomb. They didn't fumble it. Tri-Strike was a fine special on this weapon, and, you know, most people wouldn't mind because it's really good balance-wise right now. But if it came with a mediocre sub, this would be a boring, boring kit. But it's not. It's a Burst Bomb. We finally have another Burst Bomb weapon in the game. It's pretty damn cool. And so I am very excited about this weapon. I think it's going to be very interesting for the meta, and I want to talk about it a little bit. So, why don't I start by doing the opposite of what I just said and being really cynical about it? In a meta about mid-range fighting weapons, this weapon has a much more passive mid-range spraying mode. A slow, weak 4-shot kill. And while it does have a fighting mode with a dodge roll, it's short-ranged, limited, and one dodge roll. Can it really work? Well, I think so. I think this long-range mode paired with a Burst Bomb is going to make up for that problem. Do you guys remember Splatoon 2 Jet Sculpture? Do you remember what it could do with its Burst Bomb in long-range mode? Now, you know, this thing doesn't deal the same amount of damage. It's a lot less. But it's still going to be there. An outside Burst Bomb will still combo with 3 hits. A direct will still combo with 2 hits. I think it's still going to matter. And Burst Bomb's, of course, a little weaker in this game. But this weapon moves pretty fast. This is no run speed. A little bit of run speed and your strafe speed for this is actually pretty good. You get some Burst Bombs to poke, and I think it's kind of like Jet Sculpture. It's threatening, because this is like Squeezer range. This can still outrange a lot of midlines in the game, and even if it doesn't have the same mobility as Squeezer, yes, Squeezer's faster than this, for some reason. I think with Burst Bomb, it's going to actually be able to have a threatening long-range mode. Now, does it help the short-range mode as much? I mean, if you roll and someone gets scared and runs away and you, like, hit them with a little bit of the bullets, you could throw a Burst Bomb. Or you could, like, Burst Bomb and then roll at someone to make the follow-up a little bit easier. Still pretty damn good. But I don't know if it helps as much as the long-range mode here. I think this is still going to be a mode with a lot of weaknesses. But, I mean, honestly, this is still a pretty solid kit. I think the only downside is, like, I think this paint could just be a little better. I think this is the one thing this weapon needs to be better is paint. And I hope if they do buff its paint, they also make it, like, 210, because I don't want this to spam strike. I want this to be able to paint the map properly, but still have to be interactive. And I can understand that the paint's probably not super good right now, because they don't want this to just... They don't want this to be the playstyle, you know? They learned a little bit from Jet Squelcher, I think. I think they learned a little bit from Splatoon 2 Jet Squelcher, even if they decided on a horrible kit direction for it in this game. So, you know, this is dually Jet Squelcher to me, and I think it can work. I've always kind of been a fan of Jet Squelcher with a Burst Bomb being able to really push a backline roll, and this thing isn't really seen as an anchor because it's not as much range, and it has this dodge roll for fighting, but I mean, I think it's similar. I think this is a very flexible, very top of mid-range weapon that can kind of go between poking and painting for its team, and trying to get long distance pick, trying to use its burst bomb to have more favorable matchups against weapons that might struggle against it. Like, it can burst bomb a range blaster to paint over its feet and try to chip it with its better range and mobility. Like, it could be very good against that weapon, for instance, and if range tries to rush it, boom, you got a dodge roll. Like, there are matchups like that where I think, yeah, this weapon has a lot of merit, but it's gonna be hard. Like, you have to be really good at setting up this long-range mode because its kill time, even with the burst, is still going to be difficult. And you have to really be good at your dodge roll, like, when you use it, tracking people to make sure you kill them fast enough, and, like, just only having one roll with that much lag is really hard to work around. So I think this is going to be... I don't want to call it a one-trick weapon, but I do think it's a weapon you have to put a lot of time into and be familiar with. But I think if you like longer range dualies like Dualie Sculpture, or if you like stuff like Jet Sculpture, it's worth giving this weapon a try. I think it looks like it's going to be pretty good. I don't think it's going to be like top tier, you know. If it got more strike, maybe. But if this is like a 200 strike weapon, I think it's not going to get enough of them to be super annoying. I think it'll be like a high tier weapon that people are going to be able to make work. Like, it's definitely above viability, definitely has a lot of reasons to be worth picking, definitely is going to have some comps that I think it'll thrive in, but I don't think it's enough to be like a real top tier weapon right now. I don't think it has enough consistent strengths to play to where I think it's going to be some of the best. And I think this weapon is really cool, so hopefully we get a small buff alongside this, but regardless, I think it's going to be really interesting with its kit, and I'm really glad it just didn't have to play to this kit. Like, this kit is so bland and boring and annoying with Whale, and I gotta be happy when 2 killer Whale weapons get better kits this season. Bamboo and Dowser. Bye-bye, Whale. Annoying special. Bye. We're still going to see other people play it. I want to wrap up this discussion with this. This is a sub and special weapon chart that Kiver has been updating, and if this is the final season, we have our final sub and special distribution. Now, I think the special's not that bad, you know? I wish it was, like, 6 to 8, and I wish some of the choices for 8 specials were a little better. I don't really like any of the ones they decided to give 8. You know, I kind of like these two design-wise, but they're kind of weak, and then I don't really like these two. But, you know, I think this distribution is alright. If we added 3 more weapons and got the 5s up here, I don't think people would be too upset about it. This is a little depressing. I mean, newest sub in the series. 3 newest subs. At the bottom once again for these two. Nothing new. Torp down here can't even get to 7, sadly. So, you know. If this is the distribution for second kits and we get some more stuff later, like third kits, that fixes this a bit, cool. It's going to make third kits exciting to know that these 3 are pretty available candidates. If it's not, and this is the end, I mean, I don't know how we got here. I'm going to be honest. But with that being said, that's everything. I will do a prediction stream, kind of going over how good I think every weapon will be and giving some extra thoughts with a bit more time other than, you know, the morning of to talk about the kits. But that's it, everyone. We've made it through. Every weapon finally has a second kit. It took a long time to get here, but we've made it. There has been a lot of upsides, some unfortunate downsides, and overall, I'd say there's been a lot of interesting weapon kits to talk about at the end of the day, and it's been really fun to do this series. You know, I like kind of doing these informal rambles that I don't have to edit too much. That's why I started this channel, other than Twitch VODs, is just to be able to talk about things and not have to worry about production quality and still be able to ramble a bit. And you know, this has been the main series for that, and you guys have shown so much support to it. So thank you so much. I hope you all have enjoyed this series, and I will see you all next time.